Whew. I'm fresh off of a biology exam, but I want to use this time, talk about some NFL football, and really use this as a good space, a good time, because midterms, this is the week of those, and I could serve as PTSD for some people if you were ever a college student. But I want to answer a question, and what I really want to talk about today: did the Buffalo Bills prove us all wrong? Because in my preseason previews and some of the different things I looked at throughout the offseason, I kept coming to the fact that with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, I believe they would finish in 2. I really like the Miami Dolphins. We're going to talk about it throughout the video, and I had them coming in 1. I admit I had the Buffalo Bills sitting at 3 in my preseason. But the reason being, because I see games like week 1 in New York, and I'm thinking that what we saw on Sunday against the Miami Dolphins, the hottest team in football up to this point, the San Francisco 49ers, they're balling as well. But I'm looking at the manner in which they did it, 48-20. That is a dominant win by all accounts. So I think that they can play like that, and that's the scary thing. Because they give you performances like that, and they can also give you performances like the week 1 performance against the New York Jets. So I think that coincidentally, and kind of a cliche, the reason that I believe the Buffalo Bills won this game, efficiency. A couple of the stats that I looked at and saw is you look at it and there's no glaring stat. We usually point to, okay, turnovers, okay, penalties, and okay, total plays. What was the time of possession? But it was not that. I think that what we saw on the football field in the game can actually take us a little deeper into what we saw in this game, because I'm going to talk about those stats. 30 minutes of time of possession for the Buffalo Bills to 29 minutes for the Miami Dolphins. It's the real no discrepancy. So you look at that and say, okay, the Buffalo Bills, they ran for 104 yards on the ground. Okay, the Miami Dolphins, they ran for 142. We're looking at that. The red zone. The Buffalo Bills went to the red zone 6 times, cashed in 5. Miami Dolphins went to the red zone 4 times, cashed in 3. Okay, in the penalties, I would say 8 for 98. We could basically call that 8 for 100 yards for Miami. That's something you want to clean up. They have some illegal contacts, some pass interferences. And okay, that's something that we look at and say, that kind of gets me on the fence when looking at the game. But I think outside of that, 56 total plays for the Buffalo Bills, 58 total plays for the Miami Dolphins. And also, one thing that I really want to talk about, I think that when you look at the Miami Dolphins, there is no real way that you can quote unquote stump them, because not only does Mike McDaniel have the coaching X's and O's, he has the talent to add with it. So this is a guy who comes from the Shanahan coaching tree. He can call all of the plays. He can run the different motions and all of the eye candy, and it works. He has the quarterback to do it, Tua Tagovailoa. And then adding to that, we got a Tyreek Hill. We got a Chosen Anderson. We got a Jalen Waddle who came back this week. We got some of those tight ends. We got Braxton Berrios, Devon Achane in the backfield. So I'm looking at all of that and I'm saying, we're not going to really stump you with a man-to-man coverage. We're not going to stunt you with blitzing every time on 3rd down. We have to have a multitude and a variety of coverages, and that's what I saw out of Sean McDermott. Now, I said that with Sean McDermott, Leslie Frazier stepping away from football for this year, I said that I want to see what does he do. He's a defensive-minded guy, and how is he going to look with the play calling and taking over this defense in full? And I think he's answered a bit. Now, you lose Tremaine Edmonds. I thought it was a key cog at the linebacker position, but you got Bernard stepping in at that linebacker position, doing good things as well. He adds the speed in the range that we saw in Edmonds. He can also run a lot of those coverages at the linebacker position. And talking about the one guy, I don't know how many people want to say it. I don't know how many people are going to say it, but I said it in an earlier video. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Matt Milano, that is a linebacker. And you're looking at Fred Warner, you're looking at Roquan Smith, and you're looking at Matt Milano. I said this exact same thing. And you think about, how do we beat the Miami Dolphins? Because last year, I dropped a video. If you want to go watch the video, you can watch it, but that's not the topic here. How did the 49ers stump the Miami Dolphins? Because yes, last year, Tua Tagovailoa, he was in MVP contention. They were all of that. He was healthy. They were looking good. They were above the AFC East, all these different things. And then the San Francisco 49ers, they came to town. The Miami Dolphins came to San Francisco, and they shut it down. They said, not today, not on our field. The linebacker play. If you have that linebacker that can run the hole in Tampa 2 and cover 2, and Bernard did some of those things, Matt Milano did some of things. If you have that, now you can take away Tua Tagovailoa's first read. You could look at his passing chart, a lot of different things. 60% of his passes are across the middle of the football field. Yes, they can get on the perimeter. Yes, Tyreek Hill can beat you deep, but they like to run the crossers. They like to run the mesh concepts. They like to run those posts. That's how they beat you, because they get those safeties. Now we're playing back. Now we have the speed. We're crossing face. The middle of the field is open. All these different things they can do with Mike McDaniel. Buffalo Bills said no. Sean McDermott said no. D'Amico Ryans last year, he said no. And you got to have those linebackers. That's what we're looking at in common with the San Francisco 49ers. They got Dre Greenlaw. They got Fred Warner. We look at the Buffalo Bills. They got Bernard stepping up. They got Matt Milano. I'm putting him in Defensive Player of the Year contention. I'm taking it that far. Yes, the stats, that may be the only thing that holds him back, but he got a forced fumble in the game yesterday. He has 2 interceptions right now. He has 27 combined tackles. I'm looking at all of that and I'm saying, okay, and it's the impact. Does he pass the eye test for you? If you cut on the all 22 and watch Mike Milano, does he pass your eye test? He passed mine for me. When I'm looking at linebacker play, now I understand Khalil Mack had a massive game yesterday. I understand TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, the pass rushers. I don't want to always give it to pass rushers. I'm respecting those linebackers. And I said it last year. I wanted to give Fred Warner some Defensive Player of the Year credit, but this is real. And I think it's a little different because it's looking at a defense where if it's not Matt Milano, I don't see it. If it's not Fred Warner, I don't think that it's going to be the same defense, but I see a Dre Greenlaw. I see some of the other guys. They had Azeez Al-Shaair last year, and we're looking at that defensive line. Now, talking about that defensive line, you look at Epinesa, you look at Leonard Floyd, all of the Gregory Rousseau. Von Miller hasn't played a snap of football yet. Now, I believe he begins practicing this week, but I'm looking at that, and I'm saying this is a pass rush that got after Tua. And they don't even have their best pass rusher yet. Now, the big thing in which you're probably wondering, they lose Tre'Davious White. That's going to be a stinger because you look at some of the other guys in the secondary, and I think that with the torn Achilles, now new medicine, who knows what the timeline is. But understanding that I think for the foreseeable future, indefinitely, I think that he's going to be out, and that really sucks. He was playing a great game up to that point, almost had a pick, drop down one, but I'm looking at that, and then I get back to the Miami Dolphins. I don't think they had a terrible game. I think that when I talk about the Miami Dolphins and how do they look coming out of this one, now understand, they're not that team that's going to score 70 every week. They're not going to average 40 points a game, and that's understandable. I didn't think that it would happen to that magnitude, but what I saw is that they're human. They're still a very good team. They're still amongst the elite in the AFC East, still amongst the elite in the AFC, but they're human. If a team has a good scheme and they have enough talent and they can get out ahead early, this can be stopped. Everything with Mike McDaniel, we all love it. We love to see the high-flying offense, but it could be stopped. And I think we saw that with some humane and kind of mundane things about this team. Now, I look at everything that happened. I thought Tyreek Hill had a pretty solid game. Tua Tagovailoa looked pretty solid. I did not like the interception. And again, that was another cover 2 look. Had the linebacker get under. You had the safety over the top. You try to get air to get over the linebacker. The safety bites down. Micah Hyde gets the interception. That's the type of thing that I'm talking about where, okay, we're throwing these different looks at you. We're playing man sometimes. We're blitzing sometimes. But they got into a good cover 2 look. Tua, you try to get too much with that throw. Especially if you see the linebacker playing it like Bernard did. I'm not trying to get that over you. But getting back to it all, I think the real thing that I didn't like was, okay, we look at Hill, Waddle, all those guys, Achane, Raheem Mostert had the big time catch. That was an extremely impressive catch. But defensively, getting back to Vic Fangio. Now, there's no Jalen Phillips in this game, and it's never no excuses. But I didn't like the fact that you don't let Xavier Howard cover Stephon Diggs. That was my biggest pet peeve in the game. Now, I understand, Gabe Davis, some other guys on the perimeter that you may think it's the scheme. It's not a player against a player. But I think when you have a guy like Xavier Howard, try to put him in that position and just see. Because we saw Kader Kohu. He was getting the penalties. He was getting scored on different things. Now, this is not a knock to Kohu because Stephon Diggs is a top 5 receiver, and he's showing us that on a consistent basis from Minnesota to Buffalo. But I'm looking at that, and I'm saying, why don't we change anything? If you're getting beat, why do you keep letting yourselves get beat, Vic Fangio? So that was my biggest pet peeve within it all. I'm surprised with how the Buffalo Bills ran the football. Latavius Murray looking good. Had some pretty good carries. Damian Harris did not get the volume like some of the other backs did, but he's pretty solid. And James Cook can add what he adds in the passing game. And of course, he's electric out of the backfield. Overall, I think what this game tells me is that the Buffalo Bills, if they play like this every game, go ahead and end the season. Go ahead and wrap it up, sign tickets, or, bring in the Lombardi Trophy, deliver it, get the rings, go ahead and customize them. Everything you want to do, go ahead and do that for Buffalo. But the scary part is, we don't know if this is going to be the team that we see for the rest of the season. So I want to see how everything looks when Vaughn gets back. I want to see Josh Allen, I want to see him stay consistent. And I think that this is going to be a very scary team in the AFC. Right now, I'm looking at them and I'm looking at Baltimore. Kansas City is also a very good team, but I did not like some of the things in which I saw last night against the Jets. We're probably going to talk about that a little later on. But overall, though, getting back to it, I want to know what you guys think about the game. When I look at it and I look at the statistics, like I said, Tua, offensively, they didn't have a terrible game. You know, I think that the Buffalo Bills got to him with the Matt Milano, like I said, with the defensive line and the secondary that they have. But still, the Miami Dolphins started off in that first half, they were going punch for punch. And then the punches got too much from the Buffalo Bills, and then it just got out of hand. I'm looking at Josh Allen, 21 of 25, 320 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So what do you think about this? And the biggest thing, of course, no turnovers from Josh Allen. That's the biggest thing for him going forward. But overall, let me know what you think about this game. How do you feel? Do you want to put the Buffalo Bills at the top of the AFC? My power rankings will come out very soon. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to see where your favorite team lands in the NFL. But that's going to do it for today's video. And now